Hey everyone. Have you ever had a dream so big that it seemed impossible? Well, today we're going to meet a couple who had one of those dreams. Now, if you remember last time, we met a guy named Abram, which means father of many, and his wife Sarai, which means princess. When they finally arrived in the land God promised them, God said, "Hey, look around you. All this land I am giving to you and your descendants." And get this, Sarah was so old that she couldn't even have a baby anymore. But God showed them that nothing is impossible for him. Isn't that amazing? Abraham and Sarah waited for 10 long years before God made good on his promise to give them a son. During that time, they faced many ups and downs and probably doubted God's promises at times. But they didn't give up. They kept believing that God would keep his word. Sometimes waiting on God's promises can be hard. It's like waiting for your favorite meal to cook, but it takes forever. But if we stay patient and keep our eyes on God, he'll help us through the waiting. And they just couldn't believe it. I mean, look at this place. It was a complete mess. The greatest miracle in Abraham and Sarah's life was when they had Isaac, their son when they were too old to have children. Also, how has God surprised you when you put your trust in him? Share your thoughts. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching. This showed them that nothing is impossible for God. Miracles don't always look like magic tricks or supernatural events. Sometimes they're more like answered prayers or opportunities that open up when we least expect them. And even when things seem impossible, we can still believe that God can work miracles in our lives. The people there weren't very nice, and it didn't look like God was going to keep his promise. But they decided to trust him anyway. They were living in a place called Ur of the Chaldees, and God said to Abram, "Hey, leave your home and your family and go to a land I will show you." So Abram packed up his things, called his family together, and they headed out. And in the process, they discovered that God is full of surprises. We've been exploring the book of Genesis, and today we'll look at chapters 12 through 21. Instead of having lots of kids, Sarah got scared and started to laugh. She thought, how could this happen? I'm too old to have kids. First, stepping into the unknown. When God called Abraham to leave his home and follow him, didn't have a map or a guide, but he trusted God's word and took the first step, and then another step, and another, until he reached the promised land. Sometimes God calls us to do something new and exciting, like starting a new hobby or making new friends. It can be scary to step into the unknown, but if we trust God, he'll help us every step of the way. And she even told Abraham to make her a robot wife, so he could have kids with her instead. But Abraham and Sarah continued to wait on God's promises. Even though it didn't seem like God was going to keep his word, they held on to hope. Now their journey to this new land wasn't easy. In fact, it was pretty scary. But then something really strange happened. And guess what? God surprised them. He gave them a son when they were super old. Now, let's take a moment to learn from Abraham and Sarah's journey. Waiting on promises. Miracles happen. So what will you remember from the story of Abraham and Sarah? Let me know in the comments below.